Good afternoon, class. So after that concentration, based on concentration, we have done classified the bases in dilute and concentrated bases. So now we are going to do the reaction. Okay. So reaction, next heading will be reaction of base with metals. Okay. So as similar to acid, when base reacts with metal, then also the hydrogen gas, they liberate hydrogen gas. Okay. And which can be identified, which can be confirmed by the pop sound when a burning matchstick is brought to the mouth of the test tube. So you can write when alkalis, which is also known as base. I will tell you what is the difference between alkali and base. Okay. Reacts with metal, it produces salt along with hydrogen gas. Got it? Hydrogen gas, which can be identified by pop sound. This can be done by an activity. Okay, so we will do an activity later on. So now what is the reaction? Example, like first let me write the format. If this alkali reacts with metal, it will liberate H2 gas for sure, and along with this salt will form. Got it? So if you write the reaction, any alkali like KOH and NaOH, whatever, suppose that NaOH I am taking, and any metal like aluminium. So this is solution. Got it? Alkali solution. So we can assume water over there, whether you write or not, but it is understood. Got it? So what will form? It will give you H2 and along with the salt, but this salt is not as simple as we were doing in the with the acids. Okay, so you have to little learn here formula. This is sodium aluminate. Okay, so it will form sodium aluminate. Similarly, if this reacts with NaOH, reacts with zinc, it can give you here what I said, H2, you write it or not, don't write, it's your up to wish. Okay, so to balance, actually I have written it needs 2 over here and 2 over here, so 2 over here also and 2 over here also. This is reaction balance equation. So if you do this reaction, it will give you sodium zincate, Na2ZnO2. Got it? Plus H2. To make it balance, it needs 2 over here. That's it. This is sodium zincate. Now you can ask that here it is Na and here it is Na2. Actually, this is a formula you have to learn. Okay. In higher classes, you will know how to write these formula also. But for this timing, you have to learn it. Okay. So this production of this H2 gas can be done by an activity. Let's perform an activity. Now, uses of base. So, uses of base is like sodium hydroxide is used for manufacturing of soap. Later on, you will know this thing also. Sodium hydroxide is used in the manufacture of soap. Second, calcium hydroxide. Calcium hydroxide, you know where it is used? Yes, in previous class you have done this. Calcium hydroxide is used in, or calcium hydroxide solution you can write, is used in whitewashing, in whitewashing of the building, of buildings. Got it? Now we will do the reaction of acid and of metals with acid and base oxide. Got it? So next is the reaction of metal with metallic oxide and non-metallic oxide. Metallic oxide and non-metallic oxide. Before starting this thing, I just want to explain one thing. A metallic oxides, excuse me, I'm mistaken here. Reaction of acid and base with metallic oxide and non-metallic oxide. Okay, so metallic oxide, before this I just want to explain. Metallic oxide are basic in nature. Why they are basic in nature? I just tell you. Yes, listen. Metallic oxide, example, you can take sodium oxide. This is metallic oxide. Okay, like you take aluminium oxide. Got it? You can take calcium oxide. So when you dissolve in water, okay, when you will dissolve these metallic oxide in water, they form what? NaOH. It will form AlOH whole thrice. This will form CaOH whole twice. Got it? So what are these? Now these are base. Got it? Because they can liberate the OH minus ion. So in this way we can say that all the metallic oxide solutions are basic. And now one more thing I just want to tell you. Alkali. What is the difference between alkali and base? All alkalis are base. All alkalis are base, but all bases cannot be alkalis. Why so? Because alkali can be defined as such bases which can dissolve in water. Got it? So these are only alkalis. So the base which can be dissolved in water will form alkalis. So I said all alkalis are base, but all bases are not alkali, because all the base it's not possible that all the bases will dissolve in water. Got it? So now next thing, non-metallic oxide. Non-metallic oxide, if we talk about, they are acidic in nature. How can you say this? See, non-metallic oxide like carbon dioxide, like SO2, like NO2, you in class 9th also little bit knowledge you got it about the metals and non-metals, which will be the metals and which will not, which will be non-metals, isn't it? So here this is non-metallic oxide. Okay, if it reacts with water, they form an acid, H2CO3. If it reacts with water, this reaction you have done in even 7th and 8th also. So what it will form? H2SO3. This reacts with H2O, what it will form? HNO3. So they forms as acid. They are acid. So that's why non-metallic oxides are always acidic in nature. Got it? Hope it is clear. Okay, now we'll do the reaction of acid and base with this metallic and non-metallic. So first heading I am going to do this reaction of acid with. Now you have to tell me with which it will react. Whether it will react with the metallic oxide or with the non-metallic oxide. In the previous class I have explained that acid will always react with the bases. That means acid cannot react, base cannot react. So if acid is reacting with someone else, it must be basic in nature. So acid will react with, out of these, which one? Obviously this is metal oxide, isn't it? So if acid metallic oxide, so if an acid reacts with metallic oxide, which is basic in nature. Basic in nature. So yesterday class only I have, like previous video only I have explained that when acid and base react, they form a salt, isn't it? They form a salt. So now what will be the answer here? Salt along with the water. So we'll do reaction with this. Let me take an example. Any acid you take it. Suppose that I am taking HCl, and any metallic oxide you take it, NaOH. Any doubt in this? This is metallic oxide, metallic hydroxide or oxide, you can take it. Okay, so I have explained that metallic oxide will form, finally it will give you metallic hydroxide. So actually whenever we talk about that acid to react as a to act as an acid, base to act as an base, it must be dissolved in water, isn't it? So that's why we have to assume that it is dissolved in water, and that's why it forms NaOH. So what it will form? This will form this H, and this OH will come out as a water, and it will form NaCl, a salt. Isn't it? Any problem in this? Another example, take it as a H2SO4. If it reacts with another metallic oxide, tell me what can be the metallic oxide? Can you tell me? Yes, suppose that CaOH hold twice. So what it will form? 2H here, 2OH here, it will form 2H2O, isn't it? And this is Ca and this is SO4, will form CaSO4. So any problem in this? Hope it is clear. Similarly, you can take any acid with any metallic oxide and you can form a salt along with the water. Now, reaction of base with what it should be? Should it be like it can be metallic oxide? No, because metallic oxide are basic in nature and base cannot react with another base. So we have to take here acidic solution. And which is acidic? Non-metallic oxide, isn't it? Okay, so take any base like NaOH and take any metallic oxide like carbon dioxide. So what it will form? Tell me. This is base, and here it is acidic in nature. So whenever acid and base reacts, they form salt, isn't it? Along with water. So make the salt and water over here. Water, take it out, water you can make. And what you have to think, sodium and carbon dioxide So tell me, think of it. It will be sodium carbonate. So there is a trick for that. I have explained in few videos before, that if carbonate is there in the reactant side, carbon dioxide will be a must product. So vice versa we can do. If carbon dioxide is in the reactant side, that means carbonate will be there in the product side, isn't it? Similarly, next to, or I am going to tell you, if nitrate is there in the reactant side, nitrogen dioxide will form in the product. So you can convert it, vice versa you can do it. If nitrogen dioxide is in the reactant, that means nitrate is on the product side. Similarly, you can do for sulfate. I'm writing it here, you just make the short note for this, okay? If sulfate is there in the reactant side, it will give you sulfur dioxide in the product side. Got it? Or vice versa you can do. If nitrate is there in the reactant side, NO2 will be there in the product. Vice versa you can do. If carbonate is there, carbon dioxide will be there in the product, or vice versa you can do. So if carbon dioxide is there, you have to make it carbonate. Carbonate is charged as CO3 minus 2 and the metal is sodium. So Na has plus 1 charge, you make the compound like this, isn't it? Another base, suppose that KOH, and another non-metallic oxide you take it, like SO2. So tell me, water will be for sure, and since SO2 is there, so what should be there in the product side? Sulfate. Sulfate means SO4 minus 2. SO4 minus 2, and this is K plus, so it will form K2SO4. Now to balance it, you have to do like that, isn't it? Okay. So next, suppose that any other base like CaOH whole twice if I am taking, and another you can take nitrate, NO2, nitrogen dioxide. So what it will be in the product side? Water it will be, and if nitrogen dioxide is there, so nitrate will be there. So nitrate is NO3 minus. So the formula will be CaNO3 whole twice. Any doubt in this? Hope it is clear. Yes. Now let us perform the activity 2.7. Okay. So in activity 2.7, we have seen that when copper oxide, this is the metallic oxide, okay, metallic oxide, which is black in color. Copper oxide is black in color. When reacts with acid, this is acid, it forms what? It forms a salt, and that salt will be CuCl2, which is green in color. Green in color, and along with the water, this water, due to this water only, this will appears in form of solution. Got it? So this is your activity 2.7. So what is the color change during this process? The color changes black to green in color. Now we will learn about indicators. So for this indicator, just go through with this video clip. With the help of this video clip, you will better understand, and after this you have to make the table 2.1, which is given in your NCERT book. Indicators. It is possible to analyze quantitatively pH of a solution using a device known as pH meter. There are also many ways to determine pH qualitatively. In this topic, we will learn about indicators, which help us indicating the pH of a solution. An indicator changes its color depending upon the pH of a solution analyzed. Because of this, they are also known as pH indicators. Universal indicators are very versatile as it can measure pH across the entire scale from 0 to 14. It is not a single indicator but rather a combination of various indicators. If you look at the color change of universal indicator according to pH of the solution, you will find that it resembles with rainbow. If universal indicator solution turns deep red in a solution, it means that the solution is strongly acidic with the pH 1 or 2. If the universal indicator solution turns green in a solution, it means that the solution is neutral with pH 7. But if the universal indicator solution turns deep blue or violet in a solution, it means the solution is strongly alkaline with pH 14. Universal indicators paper work exactly in the same manner. Litmus is another indicator commonly found as litmus solution or paper. Blue litmus paper turns red in acidic condition, that is pH less than 7. Red litmus paper turns blue in alkaline solution, that is pH greater than 7. Phenolphthalein is an indicator commonly used to determine the end point of a strong acid and strong alkali reaction or weak acid strong alkali reaction. It goes colorless to pink at pH 8.2. That is, it is known as base indicator 2. Methyl orange is used to determine the end point of either strong acid and strong alkali reaction or strong acid and weak alkali reaction. It is red below the pH less than 3.1 and yellow at the pH higher than 4.4. In conclusion, indicators are the substances that changes color at a certain pH. Point at which indicator changes color is known as endpoint, which can be at any pH. Common indicator that you will encounter in general are universal indicator. Example, litmus in form of litmus paper, phenolphthalein and methyl orange. Hope through this activity your indicator concept is clear. So there is a short notes about it. You are supposed to write it. Indicators are such chemical which is used to know the pH of the given solution. Here the pH. What is this pH? That will be our next topic. Okay, through which we will understand about acidic and basic nature of the solution. Or in other words, we can say that the acid-base indicator are the substances that respond to change in the hydrogen ion concentration. Acid-base indicators are generally weak acid. Okay, acid-base indicator come in many different flavor depending upon the color change. Like phenolphthalein indicates if the solution is an acid, which is a colorless, while pink in base. Bromophenol blue is another indicator that has a color of yellow for an acid, while blue violet for base. Methyl orange is red in color below pH 3.1, which is acidic, and yellow in color above 4.4, which is weak acid or base. Red cabbage juice, turmeric, clove, vanilla, onion that also act as indicator. Out of that, clove, vanilla, onion are known as olfactory indicator, and the red cabbage juice and turmeric are considered as natural indicator. So this is all about the indicator that you are supposed to write it in your notebook. Okay. After this, we will do that neutralization reaction, and that we will do in our next lecture. And by the time you people have to do the homework, page number 22, in text question 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. This is your homework that you are supposed to do it in your notebook. So till then, thank you, class.